today just to tell the truth. So hopefully we can get down to the bottom of this. I'm 100%, the charges against me are 100% false, and hopefully due to time, we'll start to see that.
It's heartbreaking, man. Everybody messes up, but we can't.
In the world of fame and fortune, few stories are as dark and twisted as the recent revelations about scene Diddy combs. But what if Diddy's alleged misdeeds go even deeper, with celebrities scrambling in the shadows to cover their tracks and keep their secrets hidden? And what if these rumors reveal even more unsettling truths about Hollywood's most elite figures?
Thought Diddy would be throwing all his celebrity mates under the bus.
I mean, that could potentially be coming when it's time for court and when it's time for him to testify. But what we're seeing right now is how important public relations really are to Sean Combs. He's desperately trying to control the narrative behind bars, allowing his attorneys to do documentaries.
Let's dive into Ray J's explosive claims, which have sparked a firestorm in the entertainment world. Ray J, who's been a fixture in the music industry for years, recently dropped a bombshell in an interview with TMZ. During this interview, he didn't just talk about the mess Diddy's caught up in, he hinted at something even more sinister, the idea that other high-profile celebrities are secretly paying off victims to hush up their stories and keep their names out of Diddy's growing legal scandal. Ray J didn't mince words. He straight up claimed that some of these celebs are engaging in what he called catching. Now, for those who might be unfamiliar with the term catching, isn't just some throwaway phrase. It refers to when someone pays to bury a story before it sees the light of day. It's not a new concept. In fact, it's been used in media scandals before, but hearing it applied to a Listers and Diddy situation, that's a whole different level of intrigue.
Now, to the latest on the arrest of Sean Diddy Combs. This one has so many people talking. The disgraced music mogul facing federal racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking charges. Both the prosecution and defense teams are set to discuss the next phase of action following the indictment as investigators work to determine potential co-conspirators. But how exactly did we get here?
According to Ray J, these big-name stars are terrified that their own connections to Diddy might come to light. And let's be clear, he's not talking about just any connections. He's alluding to celebrities who might have been involved, directly or indirectly, in Diddy's notorious parties or other activities that have recently come under scrutiny. These stars, Ray J claimed, are desperately trying to keep their hands clean by paying off alleged victims before they even think about speaking out. In his own words, Ray J said, "Somebody has the truth. Somebody pays you to keep it quiet, and hopefully that money that you got paid secures your happiness while you watch the lie continue to succeed." It's a chilling statement, painting a picture of a secretive Hollywood where money and influence can silence even the most damning stories. And when Harvey Levin, the interviewer, pressed him on whether this was happening right now, Ray J didn't hesitate. Yes, he answered, confirming that these backroom deals are, in his view, a current and ongoing reality.
Ray J, in the meantime, is in TMZ's new Tubi documentary, The Downfall of Diddy Inside the Freak-Offs. That's the part 3 of this Downfall of Diddy that TMZ has been doing. And he had some things to say about celebrities going to Diddy parties and what they're doing now.
But what's even more intriguing is what Ray J didn't say. He refused to name names. While it's easy to understand why he might be holding back, after all, this is dangerous territory. It's clear that he knows more than he's letting on. He hinted that some of these celebrities have confided in him, telling him things they're too scared to admit publicly. And that's where things get really interesting. Just imagine, Hollywood's biggest stars, the ones we see on red carpets, in blockbuster films, and at award shows, secretly reaching out to Ray J because they think he might be the one to spill their secrets. But why Ray J? Why would these celebrities feel comfortable confiding in him of all people? Well, it turns out that Ray J has been close to Diddy for years. He's been in the same circles, attended the same parties, and seen the same things. At least, that's what he claims. And while he insists that he's never personally witnessed any of the illegal activities Diddy's been accused of, he also admitted that people have been calling him, wanting to share their stories.
Wait a minute. Say that again. Say that again. Back up. You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but
yes.
The shopping thing is
yes, there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood. But one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of.
They won't talk to me about what happened to them, Ray J said during the interview. They feel like they can trust me. It's a cryptic statement, but one that suggests Ray J might know far more than he's letting on. And that's where the speculation begins. If Ray J is telling the truth, then what exactly are these celebrities so afraid of? What kind of secrets are they trying to keep hidden? And how far are they willing to go to make sure those secrets never see the light of day? Of course, this all comes against the backdrop of Diddy's own legal battles, which are nothing short of shocking. Diddy, one of the most powerful figures in the music industry, has been hit with a slew of serious allegations. He's been charged with everything from trafficking to being involved in coercive schemes that have allegedly spanned years. And while Diddy has pleaded not guilty, the sheer number of accusations against him has rocked Hollywood to its core.
A US judge has ruled that the rapper and producer Sean Diddy Combs will stand trial on federal sex trafficking and racketeering charges in May. He'll be held in prison until then. Sean Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges that he used his business empire to transport women and male sex workers across state lines to take part in recorded sexual performances. If convicted, he could face a life sentence.
In fact, Diddy's legal troubles began making headlines earlier this year when Cassie, his former girlfriend, filed a lawsuit accusing him of abusive behavior during their relationship. The lawsuit didn't just allege personal misconduct. It also hinted at a much darker side to Diddy's lavish lifestyle. Cassie claimed that Diddy forced her into situations that were highly inappropriate and that his infamous parties were far more sinister than anyone outside of his inner circle could have imagined. While Cassie's case was settled quickly, it opened the floodgates, and since then, more and more individuals have come forward with their own stories. But here's where things take an even more ominous turn. As Tony Busby, the attorney representing several of Diddy's alleged victims, pointed out, this case isn't just about Diddy. Busby has gone on record saying that other high-profile individuals could be implicated. In one of his statements, he warned that the list of Diddy's accomplices would shock the public. That's a bold claim. And if true, it means that Diddy's case could be just the tip of the iceberg. What Busby seems to be implying is that there's an entire network of enablers, people who, for years, have turned a blind eye to, or worse, participated in Diddy's alleged behavior.
Her civil lawsuit, Cassie said that she was the victim of abuse, sexual assault, and rape at the hands of Diddy.
And let's not forget, Diddy's parties were legendary in Hollywood. For decades, they were the place to be if you were part of the elite. His infamous white party in the Hamptons became a symbol of excess and celebrity culture. Stars like Jay-Z, Beyonce, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lopez, and countless others were regular fixtures at these events. But according to several reports, when the A-listers left, the real party began. In fact, it's been widely speculated that Diddy's parties often took a darker turn as the night wore on. A source who attended some of these gatherings even described how things would change drastically once the high-profile guests left. It wasn't just about dancing and having a good time, the source said. Things would get wild, and not in a good way. It's been alleged that these after-parties were filled with behavior that most people would find, at the very least, questionable. And while there's no concrete evidence to back up these claims, the rumors have persisted for years.
Not done. This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
What's more, Diddy's social circle wasn't just limited to musicians and actors. He was known for rubbing elbows with some of the most powerful people in the world, from politicians to business moguls. And it's this wide-reaching influence that has some people wondering if that's why it took so long for these allegations to come to light. Could it be that Diddy's connections helped shield him from scrutiny? And if so, who else might be involved? Ray J's comments about celebrities paying off victims to stay silent add a whole new layer to this already complicated story. If what he's saying is true, then it suggests that there are other powerful figures who are just as desperate to keep their names out of the headlines. And given the nature of Diddy's parties, it's not hard to imagine that some of these individuals might have been in attendance when things allegedly went too far.
If they did in fact occur, their argument is more than likely going to be that this activity was consensual, that this person was a willing participant. And not only that, but that these individuals assumed the risk of being present at those parties, of engaging and voluntarily engaging in sexual conduct and being in those spaces, consuming alcohol and things of that nature.
But here's where things get really interesting. Ray J didn't just hint at hush money being paid. He also suggested that some of these celebrities are starting to panic. He described how people have been reaching out to him, confiding in him because they're afraid of what might happen if their involvement with Diddy becomes public knowledge. This raises an important question. Why would these celebrities feel comfortable talking to Ray J of all people? It's not like he's a lawyer or someone who can offer them legal protection. So what does he know that the rest of us don't? And that's where the speculation begins. Some people are already wondering if Ray J is holding on to some major secrets that could blow this case wide open. After all, he's been in the industry for a long time, and he's been close to Diddy for years. He's attended the same parties, been part of the same inner circle. If anyone knows what really went on behind closed doors, it's someone like Ray J. And while he's been careful not to name names, his comments suggest that he's sitting on a powder keg of information.
Hey, real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the SHU have an abbreviated list. So he's out of luck. No stake for him. Yeah, he is on side watch. This guy thought he would have went home. All of a sudden, he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there, he was like an overnight guest.
Of course, it's important to note that none of these allegations have been proven in court. Diddy has denied all the accusations against him, and his legal team has vowed to fight the charges. But the fact that so many people are coming forward, combined with Ray J's shocking revelations, has left Hollywood on edge. It's a waiting game now, as more details trickle out and the public speculates about who might be involved. And let's not forget, Diddy's legal troubles are far from over. As of now, he's facing multiple charges, including trafficking and racketeering, and the trial is set to be one of the most high-profile cases in recent memory. If convicted, Diddy could face serious consequences, and the ripple effect throughout Hollywood could be massive. But what's even more intriguing is the possibility that other celebrities could get caught up in this mess. If Ray J's claims are true, then we might only be scratching the surface of what's really going on.
We are not done, and that Combs did not do this alone. Do you foresee that there could be other charges related to this case?
I'm not taking anything off the table.
But here's where things get even more twisted. Ray J's comments have opened the door to a world of speculation, and it's not just about hush money or celebrities trying to cover their tracks. There's a growing buzz around something even more unsettling. The idea that Diddy's legal issues might be tied to a much larger, more sinister network of power and influence in Hollywood. We're talking about a shadowy web of secret alliances, where the most powerful figures in entertainment protect each other at all costs. Now, if you've been following celebrity gossip for a while, you've probably heard whispers about Hollywood's secret inner circles. These are the kinds of rumors that have been floating around for years. Stories about exclusive parties, strange rituals, and powerful people doing whatever it takes to maintain their influence. And with everything that's come to light about Diddy recently, some people are starting to wonder if these rumors might hold more truth than we ever thought.
These individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff.
Let's break this down. For decades, Diddy was known for throwing the most extravagant parties in the industry, events that were legendary for their wild atmosphere and celebrity guest lists. We're talking about his infamous white parties where the who's who of Hollywood would show up dressed to the nines, ready to let loose. But while these events were the stuff of tabloid headlines, there's always been a darker side to the stories that came out of these parties. Over the years, there have been countless rumors about what really went down after most of the guests left. Michael Kaplan from the New York Post even touched on this in one of his reports, where he described how Diddy's parties would take a turn as the night went on. He mentioned that after the A-listers left, the parties became more exclusive, with only a handpicked selection of guests sticking around for what some called the real party. And according to some sources, this is when things got, let's just say, a little strange. There have even been testimonies from people who claimed that they saw things they wished they hadn't, things that went far beyond the typical Hollywood party antics.
There was probably a lot of hidden cameras as well. Is that what is being talked about?
Yes, this was actually in his Atlanta home, at a home he had in Atlanta at one point. And it does seem that the person isn't like looking into the video, so to me, doesn't seem like that person knows they're being videotaped. It doesn't seem like they're active participant in the videotaping.
One of the more bizarre stories comes from a former partygoer who, according to Kaplan's report, allegedly witnessed some pretty shocking behavior among Diddy's guests. This person, who spoke on the condition of anonymity, claimed that at one of these after parties, he saw male-on-male activity that left him so uncomfortable, he turned down an offer to stay and party with Diddy. Now, it's important to point out that Diddy himself wasn't directly involved in this particular incident, but the fact that things like this were happening at his parties has only fueled the speculation about what else might have been going on behind closed doors. And it's not just Kaplan's report that has people talking. Over the past year, other individuals have come forward with their own stories about Diddy's notorious parties. Some have suggested that these gatherings weren't just about having a good time. They were something much darker. There's even been talk of celebrities being pressured to participate in activities they weren't comfortable with, all under the guise of partying with one of the most powerful men in the industry.
So yesterday, Monday, Diddy celebrated his 55th birthday, but this year was a lot different. It was no Diddy parties. It was none of that. None of that stuff. Well, happily so, I guess, right now. But anyway, so this is his first birthday behind bars.
Now, the idea of secretive Hollywood parties isn't exactly new. For years, there have been rumors about elite gatherings where the rich and famous engage in behavior that most of us could hardly imagine. But what makes these stories about Diddy so intriguing is that they seem to fit into a larger pattern of allegations that have surfaced in recent years. We've seen other high-profile figures face accusations of misconduct, and in many of those cases, there were similar rumors about secret parties and powerful people protecting each other. One name that often comes up in these conversations is Ally Carter. You might remember Carter as one of the key figures in exposing the darker side of Hollywood's party scene. In fact, she's been very vocal about her own experiences, claiming that she was trafficked as a minor at some of these elite gatherings. In recent interviews, Carter has described these parties as not just wild nights out, but as places where some of the most powerful people in the industry engaged in behavior that was downright disturbing.
We have always said it is about the children. It's not just about me. Never just made it about me. I'm just the loudest one.
Carter's allegations have added fuel to the fire, especially in light of Diddy's current legal issues. She's gone on record saying that these parties weren't just about partying. They involved rituals and exploitation, with victims being used and discarded by some of the industry's biggest names. And while Carter hasn't directly linked her experiences to Diddy, her claims have certainly made people take a second look at the kinds of events that were happening in Hollywood's inner circles. In one of her most shocking statements, Carter even suggested that some of these parties had a ritualistic element to them. She's talked about how certain celebrities would use their influence to control others and how these gatherings were about more than just drinking and dancing. They were about power. She said that what happened at these parties wasn't just inappropriate, it was something much darker.
It's very significant just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in a jail cell right now, I think it really underscores the magnitude of what he's facing and the weight of the federal government.
So where does Diddy fit into all of this? Well, according to some conspiracy theories, Diddy's parties might have been part of this larger system. The idea is that these events weren't just about having fun. They were a way for powerful people to bond, to keep secrets, and to protect each other. And if that's true, it would explain why so many celebrities are now scrambling to distance themselves from Diddy's legal troubles. After all, if these parties were as wild as some people claim, then there's a very real possibility that other big names could get caught up in the fallout. In fact, some people are already speculating that Diddy's case could be just the beginning. As more details come out, there's a growing sense that other high-profile figures might be implicated. And with Ray J's comments about celebrities paying off victims to stay silent, it seems like we're only scratching the surface of what could be a much larger scandal.
It's a question of that, but when you read through the indictment, it's pretty clear who could be indicted as a co-conspirator. Right now, there are people in the indictment who would be considered unnamed co-conspirators, but clearly have played a role in this conspiracy. And I think prosecutors have some big leverage on them because they're hoping that they testify against Diddy as prosecution witnesses.
Take, for example, the fact that attorney Tony Busby, who's representing several of Diddy's alleged victims, has hinted that more names could come out as the case progresses. Busby has gone on record saying that the list of people involved in Diddy's world would shock the public. He's even suggested that some of the individuals who attended these parties might have known more than they're letting on. And if that's true, then we could be looking at a scandal that goes far beyond just one man.
We're monitoring another push to free Sean Diddy Combs tonight, with his legal team citing new evidence in an updated bail proposal. The music mogul agreeing to around-the-clock security and cutting out contact with basically anyone but his legal team to get out of jail ahead of his trial scheduled for May of next year for charges he allegedly coerced and abused women for years.
There's also the issue of Diddy's connections to other powerful figures in the industry. Over the years, he's been photographed with everyone from politicians to business moguls to fellow celebrities. And while it's not unusual for someone as influential as Diddy to have a wide social circle, it does raise questions about who else might have been involved in his parties and what they might have seen. For example, let's talk about Ashton Kutcher. Kutcher has been close to Diddy for years, and in a 2019 interview on Hot Ones, he even hinted that he had some stories about Diddy's parties that he couldn't share. He described his relationship with Diddy as bizarre and said, "I've got a lot I can't tell." Now, that's a pretty loaded statement, and it's enough to make anyone wonder, what does Kutcher know? And more importantly, why is he staying quiet?
Some people do think that Diddy can help him, but this guy's going to be locked up forever. His case will probably take at least 3 years to litigate. He'll stay at MDC. There's rumors that he wants to go to Essex County Jail in New Jersey because he doesn't like MDC. He's a Marshals inmate. There's no way they're going to transfer him back and forth, I don't know, several times a week.
Kutcher isn't the only celebrity who's been connected to Diddy over the years. There's also Leonardo DiCaprio, who's been spotted at Diddy's events on multiple occasions. DiCaprio is another one of those stars who's managed to maintain a squeaky clean image despite being a regular at some of the most exclusive parties in Hollywood. But with all the rumors swirling around Diddy's gatherings, people are beginning to question whether some of these high-profile guests might have seen more than they're letting on. Then there's Jay-Z, another close friend and collaborator of Diddy's. The two have been seen together at countless events, and they've even worked on projects together. But in light of Diddy's legal troubles, there's been some speculation about how much Jay-Z might have known. After all, if Diddy's parties were as wild as people claim, it seems unlikely that someone as close to him as Jay-Z wouldn't have at least had an inkling of what was going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, but so there's still, I mean, it's crazy too because there's still more happening in court. Like, I mean, everything is still active even though we're not hearing about it as much anymore. And the people may be fatigued like we talked about prior to.
And let's not forget about the Kardashians. Khloe Kardashian once admitted during an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians that she attended one of Diddy's infamous naked parties where, in her words, half the people were naked. Now, while that might sound like just another wild Hollywood night, it does make you wonder what else might have been happening at these gatherings, and why have so many celebrities stayed silent about what they saw? Ian Usher, who lived with Diddy for a year when he was a teenager, has said that he saw things that made him uncomfortable. In a 2016 interview on The Howard Stern Show, Usher admitted that while he was living with Diddy, he saw a lifestyle that he couldn't fully understand. It was pretty wild. It was crazy, he said, adding that he wouldn't let any of his own kids attend one of Diddy's parties.
We expected just the shock of this and the questions about what is ahead of us. I mean, how long is he going to be in custody? Is this an R. Kelly situation? Is he going to not get out for a number of years? Is he going to end up serving a long-term prison sentence from this? Or does he have a chance of beating these charges at a trial that could come, within the next 2 years?
So what does all of this mean? Well, it's hard to say for sure, but one thing is clear. The more we learn about Diddy's parties, the more questions arise about who else might have been involved and what they might be hiding. Ray J's comments about celebrities paying off victims to stay quiet have only added fuel to the fire, and as Diddy's case moves forward, it's possible that we'll see more big names get caught in the crossfire. The real question is, how far does this go? If Diddy's parties were part of a larger system of power and influence in Hollywood, then we could be looking at one of the biggest scandals the entertainment industry has ever seen. And if that's the case, then it's only a matter of time before more names start to surface.
What prosecutors are arguing is not only does your client pose a flight risk, because obviously he's incredibly wealthy, has access to planes and a lot of staff, even though you said he turned over his passport to you months ago, they were also worried about him being able to interfere with witnesses and calling them.
As the trial date approaches, all eyes will be on Diddy and the people in his orbit. Will more celebrities come forward with their own stories? Or will they continue to stay silent, hoping that their secrets remain buried? One thing's for sure, this is a story that's far from over, and it's one that could have major implications for some of the most powerful people in Hollywood. So, what do you think? Are we about to witness the downfall of more listers as Diddy's case unfolds? Or is this just another example of rumors and speculation running wild? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on this developing story.